Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here. This is going to be kind of a unique video because this is really just me thinking out loud in the form of a video. It's really just satisfying my own curiosity more so than anything else, and I just thought I would share that curiosity with you guys. So specifically what we're going to be talking about is the Sega Saturn, or at least an aspect of the Sega Saturn. Before I go into it though, I will say that the Sega Saturn, you should get a Sega Saturn. They're pretty cool. It is probably the most underrated game console in gaming history, at least of the mainstream, like relevant ones. You know, there's obviously like the Neo Geo and maybe even the Jaguar to some extent. Stuff that wasn't mainstream. You know, it was the hipster game consoles. This is the mainstream one that no one knows anything about. It's the dark horse one that no one ever remembers. But it was right up there as far as relevancy. So yeah. Now with that being the case, there's a lot of people don't know about the Saturn, and I want to shed light on one of those things that I think is actually really neat about this console that no one ever talks about. Now if you've ever seen a Sega Saturn, or if you actually have a Sega Saturn, I'm sure you've noticed in the back of it, there's an expansion port, which I'll take right off there, piece of plastic. Now inside, which I'm sure you can't really see from this distance, there's like a little watch battery like right there. Now people know that because if you don't have a memory card like this is how you save your games. It uses flash memory. That's how most of us know it. Now that flash memory unfortunately really sucks, and you should definitely have a memory card instead. But if you actually look beyond there, there's actually pins back there. There's basically another connection port back there. Now it was never utilized in North America or Europe as far as I know. But in Japan they actually did take advantage of this. And in other parts of Asia too actually. Now in the early 90s, you know, for the six of you that care, there was a format war of, video format war of different formats other than VHS. Specifically, the winner over there was actually VCD. Now, I only own one VCD. This is Back to the Future, one of my favorite movies of all time, and I strictly have this as a novelty. I would certainly never watch this because I have the Blu-ray of it. There's no point in doing this. But VCD was just a video format that was just, the movie was on basically your standard 700 megabyte CD-ROM, and yeah, it was usually like 2 or 3 discs depending on the length of the movie. And that was it. It was very popular in Asia, but not popular in North America, whereas VHS was not popular in Asia, but it was obviously popular in North America. Now the theory, and this is just a theory, again for the six of you that care about movie formats from the early 90s, that I've heard, was that humidity levels in parts of Asia were not really compatible with VHS. It would often ruin the tapes. So as a result, they adopted more to VCD, and we did not. That's just what I've heard. It could completely be wrong, but whatever. But that being the case, in the early 90s, if you were in parts of Asia and you wanted to watch your VCD collection, it wasn't like a time where you could easily buy a computer either. So if you had a game console that was able to play VCDs, that was a hell of a bargain. You wouldn't have to go out and buy a dedicated VCD player. So a lot of consoles actually found their way to do that. Now the Sega Saturn was no exception. They actually released this. This is the video CD / photo CD decoder. It's basically a little cartridge thing that goes right into the back of that expansion port. And then I think you also require a boot disc at that point, which I don't have. But at that point you'd be allowed to watch, your VCD collection. As pointed out, I don't care about that. But the thing that makes it interesting to me was that some developers actually utilized this. Game developers. They said, well, wait a minute, we got all this extra potential for higher video quality, why don't we use it? See, once this is installed, not only can it play VCDs, but it actually will take full motion video, anything somebody shoots with a camera and puts that footage into the game. It can actually make that video quality substantially better than what the Saturn is natively capable of. But unfortunately, as far as I know, there was only like 4 games that ever used it, and they were all Japanese. There might be more, but I think it was only like 4. But upon thinking about this, I realized I actually have one of them. This is a game called Wangan Dead Heat Plus Real Arrange, which is a very English title. It was released at one point as just Wangan Dead Heat, and it was released in North America as Highway 2000. It probably came out in Europe under a very similar name, if not the same name. Now, the thing that makes this copy special is that not only does it flat out tell you on the back that it supports the video card, it does say it, video card is the only part I can read, it's in English. But what makes it cool is that, like I said, there's video clips. Now the video clips in this case are pretty stupid. I mean, it's a racing game very similar to Gran Turismo, and when you pick your car, you also pick like a cheerleader type of girl. Really, she's a stock car girl, you know, and you pick her, and then it'll show some clip of her where she's like, you know, smiling. That was really creepy to see me do it, I'm sure, but imagine a much more attractive Japanese girl doing it. You know, they would smile and they'd say something in Japanese, probably very encouraging. And then if you win a race, then they'll, you know, sit in your car and smile at you. If you win another race, they'll kiss you on the cheek, and, you know, just they start to like you. It ends there, by the way. It doesn't get any more tawdry than that. If you lose, you know, they say, oh, you know, and then they're disappointed in you and they leave, you know, that kind of thing. That was it. But it's the only example of a game I know of that supports it that I actually have. So what I want to do for you guys is that I want to play the game, at least play the video clips, and show you the difference between what the Saturn was natively capable of doing and what it could do when it had this card installed. And we can all just kind of satisfy a little bit of at least my curiosity, possibly some of yours, just to see, like, damn, we really missed out on something special there. If only this card had been built in, or they had sold it more widely, or more games had utilized it. So, you know, but I mean, that's like a recurring theme with the Saturn. There's a lot of potential in this console that was never utilized. I mean, not only the things that we all kind of famously know, like, you know, how it had 2 processors, and most games never even tried to use the second processor. But, you know, possible expansions like that, but also the most untapped one, I guess I should say, that is never really used, is right here. And I'm sure you're thinking, like, well, the memory card's in there. What are you talking about? What do you mean it's not used? This is actually a really neat area. Not only do you get your memory card functions, but in this case, it also acts as an import enabler, which is nice. But on top of that, it actually adds more RAM to the console. Now, this is going to sound laughable by today's standards, but it adds like an extra 4 megabytes of RAM, which, believe it or not, was pretty helpful in certain games. Only utilized in Japan, of course, never taken advantage of outside of there. But there is actually one other feature about this that is really kick-ass that no one ever uses, but it is proven that it does work. And that's that, unlike every other CD console, at least that I can think of, this is the only one that has a slot that gives you direct access to the motherboard. So what that means is it operates very similarly to the way a cartridge-based console does. So where you put 2 and 2 together here is, Crix, dude, you're the guy who makes the EverDrives, which is a sweet, awesome set of flash cards. I've done videos on them in the past. Flash cards, of course, being like a cartridge for like the N64, the Genesis, the Master System, whatever it is. And you can put an SD card in it, load it up with ROMs, and play every game ever for the system all in one cartridge. That is actually possible with the Saturn. And yes, I know, it uses CDs, I mean, I get it. But it is actually possible to make a card with an SD card attached to it, where you load up Saturn ISOs and it would be able to read them. That is a real thing that could happen. By no means is that actually in development, as far as I know. But I'm begging you, Crix, you could do it, you could be that guy. But anyway, I'm just saying that's the theme of the Saturn. So much potential that was never used. So why don't I go ahead and show you an example of that, at least this one in particular, the video CD functions. Just noticing right now, this also added photo CD functionality. Now, I don't know if that means you stick in a CDR with a bunch of JPEGs on it and it'll read it or not, but more things the Saturn could do that it never took advantage of. Oh well. But let's focus on the video CD part, shall we?
Okay, I've got the game up here. Now, I decided to give you a little bit of a sample of what the game actually looks like. Not too bad, considering, you know, it's the Saturn. So you end up picking a girl. Now I'm going to go with this one. And first off here, you can see this is what it looks like natively without the VCD card. In the left corner, you'll see the word no, and if you see the word yes, that means the card is installed. So, you know, it's acceptable video for, again, it's like, you know, a console that launched in 1994. I mean, what do you want? But you put in the VCD card and look at the difference. Look at that. That's I mean, it's not like massively impressive video quality by modern standards, but look at the difference just with this card installed. Imagine if every Sega Saturn game that had video used this or had this. It would have just been a lot more impressive. So, I don't know. I think that was a serious opportunity, and it was really wasted. But yeah. Now the other thing I want to note is that this was recorded via RGB SCART to HDMI, so not only is the picture clarity the absolute best that the Saturn is possibly capable of, but also, of course, with the VCD card, You get the superior. That right there, this is the best possible image you can ever see out of a Sega Saturn video, which, you know, there's something to that. But, yeah, I think you guys get it, and it's really a shame that we're never going to really get a chance to see how many other games could have been benefited from this. So, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, just kind of hearing my thought out loud, as it were, and I'll see you all later.